All right, everyone, welcome back. So, in the midst of talking about the Islanders' 5-game losing streak, let's talk about the Penguins' 5-game winning streak now. So, it's very interesting for me with Pittsburgh because, yeah, they're on a 5-game losing streak. Things are looking great, but is this legitimate? Because all of the teams they're facing, except for one, didn't make the playoffs last year. None of them. So that is a little bit of a concern that I do have. Some of these teams are legit. I'm not going to try and run down Pittsburgh all too much, but there are a few doubts that I do have with Pittsburgh. I do. So far, they're 8-6-0 for 16 points, and they're on a 5-game winning streak. This 5-game winning streak has really saved this team. Overall, on paper, their overall record, because up to that point they were 3-6, and things were looking too good for them. But now that they've won this 5-game win streak, obviously they're now 8-6, so they are in a pretty good spot right now. During those 5 games, they have scored 25 goals, which is an average of 4 goals a game, and they've only let in 8, which is an average of, I believe, 2 goals a game, including like 2 shutouts in there, which is pretty great. The funny thing is, though, it seems like those numbers are like polar opposites of the New York Islanders numbers that I looked at yesterday. They are polar opposite. On the positive end of things, obviously, not the negative end of things. But regardless, let's look at these 5 games. So you start off with a 10-2 win against the San Jose Sharks. It's the Sharks. Really, there's nothing you should be really proud of there. They're where they're supposed to be. 10-2 win, big win there for them. That was really big momentum shift for this roster. Then they beat the Anaheim Ducks 2-0. At that point, the Ducks were red hot. They had won 6 in a row. I made a video on that on this channel. And you know they shut out the Ducks, which is a great win for them. They play Los Angeles. They win 4-3 in overtime. Brian Rust scores. Goal gets caught off. Then he scores again, which I thought was awesome. That was such a cold move there by Brian Rust. They go 3-0 on a California road trip, which is great because, a California road trip, I'm not trying to discredit, any of those California teams or Pittsburgh whatsoever, but those games can be hard to win. They're out there on the West Coast. They're late night games. You look at those teams and you say to yourself, oh yeah, they should be pretty easy matchups because two of those three have been pretty mediocre or pretty bad the past couple of years, and then teams end up going in and losing all of them, or losing most of them, or some of them. So it's good Pittsburgh went 3-0 on that road trip. Awesome. I know Philadelphia, for one, they have never gone 3-0 on a California road trip, and I'm a Flyers fan, by the way, so they have never gone 3-0 on a California road trip. Never. Then they play Buffalo. They win 4-0. Great shutdown offensive Sabres there. Then last night they beat Columbus 5-3. Sidney Crosby with a hat trick. The third line looked great. Everything last night looked awesome, and it seems like it is clicking for this roster overall. As I mentioned, they are outscoring their opponents 25-8 during that 5-game winning streak. Some other numbers that are like season numbers so far. They have a 17.9% power play percentage, which ranks 22nd. So below average. It needs to get better, obviously, and I think it will. It's kind of shocking that it's not that good considering the fact that you have so many star offensive players on this roster. But yeah, that's just where it's at right now, and I'm sure it will improve as the season progresses. On the penalty kill, though, they've been pretty good, 84.8% for 10th. So the grinders on that third and fourth line, the guys who are on the penalty kill have been doing a great job. So I give them props. Your average of goals per game, they have scored 3.64 goals per game on average. Yeah. Then they've only let in 2.64 goals against per average, which when you look at the numbers, that's pretty good. Boston's average is literally 2. They're the best in the league by a big margin. But yeah, Pittsburgh 2.64. That is solid numbers there out of him. So yeah, I like that part of the Penguins, but there are a few concerns that I do have, and I'll get into them in a little bit. But regardless, let's get into the scores now. So you got Sidney Crosby. Crosby leading the way. Just no surprise there. Crosby, 14 games played, 10 goals, 9 assists, 19 points. With the hat-trick last night, he puts himself in the lead there. Having himself, again, another great season. The guy never slows down. I've learned to never doubt him. He never slows down at all. So I expect him to keep going at this pace. Jake Gensel then up next with 14 games played, 6 goals, 12 assists, 18 points. I've liked the way Gensel's played as well. It's great that he's here because there were talks at the beginning of the season or in the offseason that he wasn't going to come back until late in December or late in November, around now pretty much. So it's a good thing that he actually was healthy enough to start the regular season with the Penguins. So that's been a huge help for them overall. Next up, then, Evgeny Malkin, having again another really good year. 14 games played, 8 goals, 9 assists, 17 points. Malkin playing a great game out there on the ice. Doing what I need to do as a second line center. Next up, then, you got new acquisition Erik Karlsson. Karlsson with 14 games played, 5 goals, 10 assists, 15 points. Karlsson, great scorer there. Has been playing well for them. Obviously, he brings that offensive game. Not that defensive game so much, but still playing well offensively. And then finally, Brian Rust, which is making his contract look not too bad at this point. 14 games played, 7 goals, 6 assists for 13 points overall from Brian Rust. So I like those numbers. I like the way they're scoring offensively. They're scoring enough points to put themselves ahead of opponents. The defense has been okay as well, outside of Karlsson's defensive woes. However, there are some concerns that I do have. Jeff Carter, obviously, he's up there in age. Penguins fans have criticized him so much the past couple of years. He has no points in 10 games played. I believe he's been held out of the lineup for a lot of the games recently. So that probably plays a big role in why they're winning 5 games in a row. Then you have Noel Acciari. Acciari, 1 point in 14 games played. The secondary scoring seems to be lacking a little bit. You want to see some more secondary scoring out of your players. That has been an issue. The star powers really carry this team through this 5-game winning streak and through this season. So that is a concern that I do have, but hopefully, they'll improve from there. And then Riley Smith has been a very positive factor. New acquisition, 12 points in 13 games played. I've liked the way Smith's played a lot. He's been a great, solid forward there for the Pittsburgh Penguins overall. Then you got Tristan Jarry. Jarry's received some criticism. Early in the season, there was a lot of criticism with him. But, through this 5-game winning streak, 2 shutouts. How about it? Jarry, 11 games played, 6-5, 2.31, and a .918 save percentage. Good numbers there. He's playing the way he needs to, so hopefully he keeps that going and doesn't turn into the Jarry we've seen many years before. Now, here's my doubts with the Penguins. Obviously, as I mentioned, the secondary scoring is a little bit of a concern for me. If it keeps becoming a problem, I'm sure come trade deadline time, they will address this issue. I can't imagine they wouldn't. So the secondary scoring plays a big factor. Another concern is Tristan Jarry. Obviously, can he keep this consistency going? Of course, we'll find out. But their schedule is going to get a lot harder. Which, speaking of their schedule, against those teams, only one of them was a playoff team last year, and a lot of them are not doing so good right now. So that is a concern that I do have with that 5-game streak. But I will say this: a win's a win. A win's a win. You can say, oh, they beat San Jose. Win's a win. My Flyers lost to San Jose. They can beat a team. Like, if they can beat San Jose, that's a win. Like, you can say, yeah, it was an easy game, but you need to win the game for it to be an easy game. So that does play a factor there with me. So, yeah, I like the way they're playing. They're playing very well. I don't believe I've watched any of these games, though. A lot of them have been late at night. And just, the fact that I randomize what team I watch every night. Obviously, I haven't been picking Pittsburgh, which is unfortunate, but eventually I will pick them again. Their upcoming schedule, it's going to be difficult. The next 5 games are going to be a very big test for this roster. It's going to get real tough from here. They play the Devils, who have been struggling a little bit, but still are the New Jersey Devils. Then you have the Carolina Hurricanes, good team there in the Metro. Vegas, arguably the best team in the league, if not the best team in the league. The Rangers, one of the hotter teams in the NHL currently. The Sabres, could be a winnable game there to beat them in this 5-game streak. Toronto, that'll be a tough one. Nashville, and then Tampa. So, they start off the first 4 games of the rest of November are going to be extremely difficult for them. So, obviously, we'll find out how they're going to pan out during this. But yeah, that is a legitimate concern that I do have with their schedule. But regardless, they should deserve credit. They're playing well in this 5-game win streak. Hopefully, it keeps going for them because if they want to make the playoffs and they want to win one more Stanley Cup, it's looking like this year is going to be that year. So we'll obviously find out there if they do so. But regardless, that concludes this video. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button down below. I really appreciate it. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.